Hello, thanks for joining us for the Odgers Berndtson One Question series. This is the spring question. My name is Jules McKean and I head up the media practice out of Odgers Berndtson London. I'm joined today by Mark Inskip. Mark, nice to see you.
Hi there.
Mark joined Kantar in 2015 as the global CEO of the Futures Company, which he led back to commercial success and more recently has led the global Kantar relationship with Unilever. He's now the UK and Ireland CEO for Kantar's media division. And prior to joining Kantar, he had a varied career. He's been a salesman, a CMO, a consultant, and an entrepreneur. And as part of that journey, he's worked across multiple industries: industrial, financial services, utilities, media, and e-commerce, and across many markets from the US to Singapore. Mark lives in the countryside of Berkshire with his wife and 2 teenage kids. He's a keen field hockey player and enjoys spending a good deal of time coaching and umpiring, and cycling and sailing and all sorts of lovely things like that. And he's also, in his spare time, of which I suspect there was very, very little, is studying for a master's in executive coaching at Ashbridge University. Thank you, Mark, for joining us.
Sounds very self-indulgent and vague when you describe that, but okay, but it's broadly true.
Not at all. It's like this is your life. A quick full stop tour. So in 2021, we've obviously had the most remarkably unusual 12 months. We're bang on 12 months now, aren't we, into it? And so the spring question naturally turns to simply, what has our industry learnt from the pandemic? The good, the bad, and the ugly. So over to you, Mark. What has our industry learned?
I think I'd kind of grip it up in terms of the sort of the stuff for the industry, the stuff for the business I look after, and I think the stuff for me as a leader, right, in terms of, and I think there's been and I think if I kind of go in reverse order, right, so for me as a leader, it's been the most brilliant and appalling year all at the same time, right, and I've learned a huge amount about leadership, about myself, and about how to kind of interact and lead a team remotely, it's been probably my biggest year of sort of growth as a leader ever, So and I think some of the specifics around that is just how really to engage a team remotely, and it's bizarre how much you rely upon those corridor conversations, the coffee machine conversations, to get stuff done in an office that you've suddenly had to replicate. I think for us as a business, I think we've seen both extremes. I think we've been very fortunate. We've had some clients that have continued on sort of almost untouched, and then we've had other clients that have been through some very difficult times. And I think it's really focused our mind on listening to clients and trying to recognize that for many of them we're a long-term partner, and to reflect that in how we engage in some very difficult circumstances. So we've done quite a lot for our clients and with our clients over the last 12 months, and we still publish to this day a daily COVID briefing.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we started it within about 10 days of lockdown last year. And we've got, now thousands of people have signed up for it. It's a little bit like sort of the BBC do one as well, I think, and a few others. But it's really good. I'm biased, of course. But we have some of our editorial team who write that overnight, every night, take the newspapers, consolidate it, and publish it out. And so just some small things like that, right the way through to some larger things where we just fundamentally changed our approach. And I think as an industry, is, I think that when I've talked to other leaders as well, I think a few things have changed. I think the COVID has been a real opportunity. And I think now, actually, I think it's a real opportunity to embed some of the reset that happened. I think we were all talking a lot about change, and there was change going on, right? But I think it's accelerated. So we've seen some major shifts in media consumption patterns. We've seen some significant shifts in spending patterns, lots more e-commerce, lots more focus on digital channels of interaction, even more so than there was before. And I think it's probably accelerated the media change that was happening anyway. It's probably taken whatever, taken the next 5 years of that change and shrunk it down into a year, right? In some cases, sort of, it feels like the industry's moved on a lot in the last 12 months and changed a lot. There's still more to go. I don't think the change is finished, but I do feel like that as an industry, I think it's really accelerated and focused the minds on some of the things that I think were probably coming anyway.
Right.
But it's kind of moved us forward. So I don't know. So that's
And when you sort of think, because you are uniquely placed in your role to see, as you say, clients who, just by dint of the market dynamics of their category have either had a potentially a spectacularly successful time in COVID, which, if you can say that commercially, and some which have unfortunately just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and sort of has that, the fact that you're seeing your clients in their home setting, does it sort of enable you as an agency, or sort of, kind of a sort of a partner to them to kind of be able to build that empathy and be able, because you're having to move from possibly a very positive meeting straight into one where actually the dynamics are so different, and you're presumably getting a human aspect to that you might not normally have had.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good point. I think clients, and in particular senior clients, have become much more accessible through the magic of Teams and Zoom. It's bizarre, right? In terms of, and I would never have predicted that as being one of the outcomes, but I think I've had more and more meaningful kind of conversations with clients in the last 12 months than I've had in a long time, just because of I know, as a senior leader, if somebody wants to get into your diary, well, yes, we'll get you in 3 or 4 weeks time, and these things like take months. Whereas actually on Teams and what appears to have been, unfortunately, the moderately extended working day, that you're now always available, apparently, it seems like that. You can just have more conversations. I mean, I've just come off a conversation with a really important client, and actually the first 10 minutes we're talking about each other's backgrounds and, where do you live? Well, that's interesting, and it become, which is actually in an office environment you'd never do. So I think, when we go back and I've met many of my clients' children, dogs, delivery drivers, whatever it is, right, over the last 12 months, in terms of, because just the setting that you find yourself in, and I think that's really helpful for long term, in terms of just building those relationships that matter.
And I suppose preserving that level of intimacy is going to be both an opportunity and a challenge going forward. And I wonder, Mark, if you've seen with managing your teams, because actually there is sort of a one-to-one opportunity that you've got to have with to drive a little bit of honesty, perhaps, that maybe they wouldn't normally necessarily be so open with you about, but have you had to kind of go out of your way really to find those quieter people who are sitting in different, with a slightly different mindset? Have you found some learnings on that?
Yeah, no, I think we've done a couple of things. I think probably the best thing I've done, all right, as a leader is we started almost straight away last March a weekly all hands call. Right. Everybody in the company, a Thursday morning, 11 o'clock, get on a call and listen to me talk about stuff for a little while. And it's grown, and we're just coming up to number 50. We've had a couple of weeks off over the year for various reasons. So we're about to do call number 50, and actually they've become a real I don't know about a highlight, but a real event for people, in terms of, email. We've tracked it. Company email volumes drop to almost nothing through that all hands call. And I'm not saying I'd ever do this, but I'm sure I know people that have sit on conference calls and do emails, right? Yeah. But and it doesn't happen. And I think it's because I think the way we finish those calls is always I open the floor to Q&A, and people have realised. I've been very clear that you can ask me anything, right? And it started, obviously, 12 months ago, it was a bit, it took a few brave souls. But actually now I get asked all sorts
the democratization of the screen. Perhaps.
Exactly. And I, as a leader, feel closer, bizarrely, in the circumstances, I feel closer to my team in its widest context than I did 12 months ago. I was obviously close to my direct reports and my leaders and some individuals spread around across the business, but I feel much closer to the whole community that is my team of whatever it is, 500 or 600 people, than I did last year. And you know, going into remote working, that was my big, you know, one of my big worries is, oh my God, how are we going to stay connected? And for me personally, I feel closer now. I've also got some people in the team, to part of your question, which is I've found the whole experience really difficult.
Yes.
And are feeling isolated and lonely. And we've put lots of, you know, well-being and health and mental health and all sorts of things in place. We run informal coffee mornings. We do all sorts of other things as well that aren't me, right? Because sometimes I can be, unfortunately, my title can deter as well as encourage at times. And we try and balance that, and we do our best to keep an eye out for people where they need help. But yeah, overall, you know, I think much of it has been a positive experience, although there has been, you know, not without some challenges.
That's brilliant. What a lovely silver lining to leave on then, I think, Mark. So kind of bringing a bit of humanity into the office, ability to democratize a little bit the communication flows, perhaps. And let's just hope we can kind of, you know, build on the personal aspects that we've got to know of each other outside of the workplace as we go back into the workplace, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want to lose that, definitely.
Mark, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us on One Question. And
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Hello.